Well, good morning. Today it's a gorgeous day outside. It's also Monday, and there was no breakfast with Glenda. She is again at the gym show, which is super great for her. But I miss her. I miss our friendship. Actually, we're still friends, but you know what I mean? Like hanging out and talking. But I am glad that she's at the gym show because she's getting quite a number of things that I know is just going to help launch more of her business. So I'm happy for her, but I do miss her because there's nothing else like getting together with a good friend and just talking out your thoughts, right? So if you don't have a friend like that, find one. Try to find one or somebody that you just can chit-chat with no judgment, and you just are able to be who you are with this person. So I do cherish my friendship with her. And I want to say we've known each other like 10 years, maybe longer. Maybe it's closer to 15. I don't know. Anyways, so my DaVita appointment was really good. Again, it was in and out. It was to see Dr. Olivier. And everything on my lab work is great. One of the things that I'm really happy about, though, is that my potassium level is back up where it should be. I believe it's at 4.0. Potassium and proteins are things, calcium, I believe, too, are things that are pulled out of your system when you're on dialysis. I don't want to say especially PD dialysis because I'm not quite sure how that would work. I think it's just dialysis in general. So we have to be aware of those levels because what happens is when you dip too low in potassium, potassium helps your heart's health, like it's major heart health. And you can start to get rhythmic palpitations, which I have experienced in the past. And that's my first indication that I am severely low on potassium. And so I have to refocus on getting that potassium in. And you would think that's easy, but in some ways it's not. I'm a huge potato eater because I'm from Peru. And so I think I get a lot of my potassium from potatoes. And granted, I'm not a big potato French fry person, but I'm also not, I'll just eat a potato. I love mashed potatoes. I don't even eat the gravy. And normally I don't even eat the gravy. I might have a little butter, like real butter, not margarine. But like today I'm making a beef stew in the crock pot, and so I cut up potato to be in that, and carrots and celery. But I do know that I have been eating a lot of bananas because when Gus was here and Charlie's here, they tend to eat the whole banana, if not at least half the banana. Now Gus will probably eat like 5 bananas. That boy can eat. Charlie will eat a whole banana typically, but I found that I was eating the leftovers of their bananas. And yesterday I had a whole actually Donnie made homemade sourdough bread, and so I was able to make like a avocado toast yesterday. It was so good. So I ate quite a bit of avocado, but consciously I have been taking my potassium pill. Now, the potassium pill is really big. In fact, you need to break it in half to take it because God have mercy if you choke on that thing. And it's like this long. And even when you break it in half, I have a hard time swallowing the half. It also, once it's broken in half, like crumbles down. And it just freaks me out. It's like swallowing a piece of white chalk. And so I have a hard time with it. And I've been kind of mushing it up in my food. But apparently that's been working because my potassium level is really good. And the reason I bring that up is because we have a new nurse here at the DaVita West. I really like her. I think she's great. And she asked, like, why do you think your potassium level changed so much? And I was like, I don't know. And then on the way to the car, I was thinking, how did my potassium level change? And it must be because I was extra eating banana. And then also I made that decision to make sure I'm taking my potassium. So I guess that's what happens when you do the right thing. But I am glad, like, there's nothing worse than feeling the depletion of potassium, I will say, because you do get cramps. Whether it's dehydration, and typically people who get dehydrated know what I'm talking about, because your foot starts to cramp. Sometimes your hands are cramping. When I do my potassium fast, that's what I call it, because I don't know that I should call it that, though, because I'm thinking I fast, but I have to take potassium. Whereas I'm thinking if I'm saying a potassium fast, it sounds like I'm not taking potassium. That's not the case. And my potassium has to be something I do every day. Whether it's the banana, the avocado, a potato, whatever has potassium in it, I need to eat it. But on those days, I don't typically eat a regular meal. And so it's still considered fasting, or maybe intermediate fasting, but it's not the same as like no water, no food fasting, because we could die. That's just the facts. Now, I have gone 5 days before without eating a solid meal, and I feel great. I felt great. The difference, though, is that if you're not consuming the potassium, your body cramps so terribly bad because your dialysis is pulling your potassium. So even though your body, it's like your body wants to keep you alive, right? It will do whatever it takes to try to keep you alive. And so when you fast or intermediate fast, your body is pulling your extra fat storages, your extra protein storages, whatever storage they have to go into to help you continue your day, that's what they're pulling. But when there's no potassium going back in and they're extra pulling out that potassium because of your dialysis, then you can get yourself in some big trouble. So I always want to try to clarify that. Like, I do fast, I do intermediate fasting nearly every day, but I definitely still take my potassium because that cramping is terrible, and I have experienced it. And it's not just cramping in your toes or your leg, which is painful enough. It's like your back. It's like your rib cage. It's like everything is just like shriveling up to this painful point of, I don't even know. Like, labor could kind of be similar, but at least at the end of labor, you have something to take home. You just want to be really careful, though, if you decide to fast, that you do your potassium anyways. And so whenever I talk about that with people, because I am a fan of fasting, mostly because it helps recalibrate your system. It really just makes your body do what it needs to do, and it's healthy. But that potassium is the thing that you have to stay on top of. And even if you're not on dialysis, I think you would want to keep track of your water intake and your potassium anyways, because again, potassium is such a big thing for your heart health. So I am glad that I got that level back up, and I'm glad that my phosphates are at a good place. I'm glad that my protein's at a good place. I feel energized today, and I found out that there are definitely people who are wanting to find out more information about my life on kidney disease, with kidney disease, which is encouraging, because my hope, again, and has always been, that I encourage people that your life is not over just because you have kidney disease. You have to change and adjust it to what is going to make the best outcome for your life, but it's certainly not over. It can feel super overwhelming in the beginning because there's a lot of fear talk, and sometimes in some ways they really need to scare you straight. Like, okay, that fast food stuff, no more. Soda, get rid of it. I think that the medical world has a hard time with people, because they're like, here's what works well for the majority of people, and you're not doing well, so let me help you do well. But if you're not willing to do well, then they kind of throw their hands up in the air like, well, what am I supposed to do with you? So, they still try to help, but we, again, have to be the people that take responsibility for our own health and what we eat, what we drink, and how we live our lives. But my hope is that I will help you to know that it's okay. It's okay. There'll be bad days and great days and sad days and other days where it just flies by and you're like, wow, I did all my dialysis already. Okay. And that's okay. So anyways, I am happy that there's people who are interested in finding out about kidney disease and being on PD dialysis. So this is just my life. This is how I live it. This is how I look at my life now. So I guess I'll leave you with that today. Sometimes when your day becomes a little heavy, what you might want to do, whether you write it down, whether you mentally think about it, however you do it, just start counting the blessings, because sometimes those are the things that put us back into perspective that my life's okay. It's a little different from other people, but the reality is everybody's lives are different. So why not be an encourager to those who are having a tough time on a certain day? That might even be me. That's the reality of life. It's not always sunshiny, but it's not terrible, and it's not over just because you have kidney disease. So, all right, I will talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.